Now, if you're Vanzan and you haven't done anything wrong and you're not scared, you have nothing to fear, you're not going to get in trouble, why would you hire this woman? And yeah, I know everybody's entitled to proper counsel, but why would you hire Margarita K. O'Donnell, aka Maggie, aka she is good with federal investigations, the SEC, the DEA, the DIA, the Alphabet Boys? Why would you hire her? Let's get into it. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of If I Run and Find Out. Yes, I'm still Elsie. Haven't changed. You don't have a new host. It's still me. Vanzan is making things very interesting because as of yesterday, they have added new counsel to the situation. And this new counsel is very, very interesting. So while we've all been speculating that Vanzan could, be doing something shady, maybe criminal, could be getting in big trouble here, this is the lawyer they added. When you go on the Zuckerman website, you're gonna find a link to this woman who is the new counsel added by Vanzan. And when you click her profile, seemingly cool. But then our friend, who I told you guys before, make sure I get these filings on time, she sent me her link and was like, take a look at her, right? And I looked and I went on a page, and we're gonna skip the top part because that's not interesting. What's interesting is right here. Okay, so frequently, Maggie represents individuals and corporations in investigations by federal law enforcement agencies and in grand jury investigations, including investigations by Department of Justice, DOJ, and Securities and Exchange Commission's SEC. Most recently, she served as a key member of a monitorship team imposed and approved by the DOJ. Maggie also has extensive experience representing clients in a range of complex litigation matters, including state attorney general actions. So why is that important? If you've been taking notes, if you've been listening, if you've been paying any type of attention, you've heard the rumblings of the fact that Vanzan could possibly be up to some shady criminal shit, right? Well, then hiring Maggie is looking very much so that at the very least, Vanzan is scared because one of Maggie's qualifications, one of the things she frequents, as an attorney, is handling and representing individuals and corporations. I'm going to repeat, being investigated by federal law agencies, grand jury investigations, the DOJ, and the SEC, insider trading, all that stuff. So I'm going to take a wild guess as to why Vanzan would need this woman. This woman right here. Margarita. Why does Vanzan need Margarita if Vanzan didn't do anything wrong? Now everybody's entitled to counsel. Everybody's entitled and have their rights to be represented by the best of the best. But if you're Vanzan, why are you spending any kind of money at all hiring this kind of lawyer? Why? What do you have to be afraid of? Now, I'm not saying, her qualifications alone indicates anything wrong, but I'm just saying her qualifications alone indicate something wrong. Okay? I wholeheartedly believe that, the subpoena gate and everything that's happening is clearly trying to throw the stench. Is it the stench or the scent? You know what I'm talking about. Throw the scent off the Vanzan situation. Scent flew better. I think it's scent. So, but I don't think we should let that happen because hiring this lawyer who is good with the SEC and helping people get out of grand jury investigations and all that tells me, I'm not saying it should tell you. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm not telling you what to feel. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm telling you that me, Elsie, I think Vanzan doth protest too much. I think Vanzan is scared. I think Vanzan got something to hide. Because why are you hiring Margarita? Why are you hiring Maggie? You could have hired me to say Vanzan doesn't have nothing to do with nothing. But if you're paying Maggie the big bucks, her billables are probably up there. I 100% believe they're trying to push the Vanzan of it all down somewhere and cover it up with not so serious things. But we're not going to let that happen as long as we live and breathe. Some of you are just not coming to class because some of you as of July 1st, 2025, are still asking me, what is Vanzan? And as I responded to somebody who asked me that earlier, I told them it was a type of fruit and I don't regret it. Okay, Elsie, wake up off your sick bed because Ryan Reynolds did something with Vanzan and blah, blah, blah. Now, why am I frustrated with you guys? Because I told you 2 months ago, 2 months, as we can see right here in this video, it says 2 months ago, right there. I posted this video where, when we initially found out that Liz Plank, was sharing the same address, the same business manager, the same agent with the Lively clan, the Lively Reynolds clan, right? When we initially talked about Liz Plank's company, I remember telling you guys that I found a second company named Vanzan that was not technically the original Vanzan. I know everybody's been intrigued about Vanzan Incorporated being established right after Blake and Ryan met, and it's been inactive since then. Is it possible they have another Vanzan Incorporated and they opened that as recently as 2019? I think so, because this is what I found. While I was looking into Liz Plank's business, I found Vanzan Inc. As you can see right here, the address is different. Vanzan Inc., however, hasn't filed anything since 2019. They haven't filed they only have their certificate of incorporation. They haven't filed an annual report. They haven't filed anything to keep them up to date as a company. They haven't filed anything other than paying whatever they need to pay to keep the business in active status. But the business is 6 years and 2 months old. What if they didn't use the Vanzan Inc. of, 10 years ago, 11, 13 years ago, whatever, to file this lawsuit? Because we were working under the assumption that they used this Delaware-based company that was, from the past, from the ancient days, and it had nothing to do with nothing. But what if they actually used this Vanzan Inc. that is actually active, however, has a different business address? But wait, it's only 2 minutes from the other address. This is getting shadier and messy as we go. January of 2019, while the original Vanzan that everybody was, basing their efforts on and, thought the subpoena came from was this Vanzan, formed in Delaware and back in 2010, right? We all remember that. Okay. Katie Joy, Without a Crystal Ball, which I'm not going to play her video here because I've told you guys before, I don't like sharing other creators' videos who are like on this platform. Like, I don't like to show you the video, play it in its entirety. Go watch it there to give them their views because they worked on it. So they get their viewership and everything from it. So I don't jack their views. She talks about how Ryan Reynolds has now all of a sudden updated stuff with Vanzan and everything. But I told you guys 2 months ago that I don't even think it was the same Vanzan that everybody was talking about in the beginning. Because if you guys will remember, in the beginning when everything came out, this is the Vanzan everyone was referring to. You can actually see right there, Katie Without a Crystal Ball's watermark is right in the corner where they talk about, Vanzan Incorporated was the one that, did the subpoena. But one thing you will notice is right there, it says the solution date is January 2nd of 2013. September 29th, 2010. It says that right there at the top. And then in 2013, it was dissolved. A dissolution is like dissolved, stopped, canceled, broken down. It no longer exists as a company. So I remember initially when I saw that, I didn't even notice the dissolution. But when I was looking into the Liz Plank issue is when I found this Vanzan that I told you guys about. I remember telling you guys about it back then. And I remember mentioning the fact that they hadn't filed any other statements. In this video, I remember we talked about the fact that they have a similar address with the Liz Plank and the other businesses and the original Vanzan, but the address was actually like 2-minute walk away. I remember we walked through that and ended up finding out the address was like a condo and it ended up having connections with Tina Fey. So I just wanted to reiterate that this was brought up 2 months ago. While back then I did not exactly break it down to you as like Ryan Reynolds has filed, something under it or anything of the sort. it's relevant now because Ryan is trying to like take the company for himself and say Blake has nothing to do with it. And for that, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for your comments, your shares, your likes. We're almost at 20K. So I can't believe how far we've come on this channel in such a short time. Because trust me, I know people, who take much longer time to get to where I am now. So I cannot stop thanking you guys and showing my gratitude and my appreciation. So I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day and behave yourselves. Okay.